Okay, what we're going to look at now is the job card app, which we've got installed here. What we're looking at here is the community version of Odoo 17 with the muck theme. It looks quite attractive. It looks very kind of similar to the old 16 look and feel, but nevertheless it's a little bit more attractive than the default community version layout. Anyway, that aside, what I want to do is talk about this job card app, and I'll just open it up for a second. And we can see we've got some jobs in here that are on the go, and I'll take a quick look at one of these jobs, and we can see we've got a job card down the bottom here. We've got up the top, we've got the sales order that's linked to, the client that's linked to, a start and a finish date, whether it's published to the portal. So with jobs that haven't been allocated to a tradesperson, we can publish them to a portal. We've got whoever is managing the job internally. We've got the region where the job is and the trade that is required. So the purpose of this job card app is to allow us as a business to subcontract out some of our work, and that might be to engage subcontractors, and those subcontractors will go and do the work on our behalf, and this is quite a common scenario. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to contact some tradespeople and say, hey, we've got a job, can you go and do it for us? Give us a quote. They'll give us a quote, then we'll decide which one's the best. We'll then go with that with the quote we like the best, and then they'll go and do the job and so forth. So that's the basic premise of the whole thing. So what we've got here, as I said, is the job card, and we've got a description down the bottom here. In this case, I've got some text in here. I've also got an image. I've got an address, so the address where the job is going to get carried out. So this may be exactly the same as the client, the customer, but it might not be. It might be somewhere completely different. So this is a little bit more flexibility in there. Likewise, with not just the address, but also the contact and the phone might be someone different than the actual customer. So these fields allow you to adjust those accordingly. The next one across we've got is trades. So this is a list of all the tradespeople that service this area that have this trade, and it gives us a list there so we can see who in that area can service this particular job. We also collect the star ratings on them to see which ones have been performing better than others and that sort of thing, and might influence our decision with who we purchase our services from. The next tab across is our purchase orders. So you can see here that I've got a purchase order that was approved. I've got the confirmation date in here, and these two that bid for this particular job, but they didn't win it. So this is good information to have here. Next one across is our inspection. So this is where an inspector can go out and have a look at the job. It might be an internal person, and go and collect some information. And then we've also got any claims that were made against the job. So sometimes there's unforeseen expenses or whatever else. So we've got a place for that as well. So this is a basic overview. What we can do here too is print out a job card. And if we print that out, let that go for a second, and prints out the job card. So I can see all of the information in this job card, and I can see all the instructions down the bottom here as well as the image. So this job card, as I go through the process, I can use it firstly to give to the tradespeople to go and quote on the job, and then secondly it becomes part of the work to be done. It can be procedural, it can be whatever you like really. Let me just open up a new job card for a second. So this is a brand new job card. I don't have a sales order, I don't have a customer. Let's say I'll pick out one of my customers just for the sake of it. And it looks like that this customer doesn't have a region assigned, so we can go and assign a region. So let's say it was the east. Let's say they wanted what are we going to pick? An electrician. Straight away we should be able to see the trades that we've got in that area that are electricians and in the east. But maybe we made a mistake, maybe it's plumbers, and you can see this dynamically changes according to what trade you require for this particular job that are in this region. We'll come back to that when we look at the purchase orders. Let's go back to the job card. At the moment, we've got an empty job card here. But what we've done here is we've created some templates. So if I go to configuration and card templates, we've got some that have been set up here. Here's a basic template, and here's one that's been created just for the sake of demonstration purposes of a bird bath, and we'll go through that in a second. So we'll go back to our jobs. This is the one I was working on. So we can choose a template. So I'll click the template and I'll pick out the bird bath one for the sake of putting something in there. And you can see it pre-populates our job card with all that information. So that way we can have some pre-canned templates all ready to go. If we know it's got this type of job, we can use that template, and I can configure as many templates as I like. Then down the bottom, we've got the usual menus here. So here we can add images, as you already saw, but we can add in checkboxes and all the usual things that you put in here: separators, bullet lists, banners, and all sorts of things. Likewise with the inspection, these are all templated as well. You might have noticed that we've got the inspection templates in exactly the same process. You can pre-can a lot of the inspection notes and things in there, and so when the inspector comes out in a job, all they've got to do is fill in the right bits and pieces, and that's done. So I'll go back to the job card. So we're going through this. The address now, as I said, it's the address might be the same as the client, but it might be somewhere different. So you can go and put in the text there accordingly. But if it is the client's address, you can just copy that straight out of the client's information and bang, it's all in there ready to go. The tradies, as I mentioned, I've already had a look at this before. Now I'll talk about regions for a second. So regions, in those sorts of businesses where we farm out some of our internal work to subcontractors and things on a regular basis, we tend to do it in regions, or suburbs, or maybe it's shires, or some sort of way we split it up. In this case, I've just said north, south, east, west, just because it's convenient. But you know, that might be around a metropolitan area. Let's say north, south, east, west. You do the north, I do the south. You know, someone else does the east, and so forth. And likewise, you can put your customers in the same area. So you're going to pick out the tradesmen that are in the same area as the client, and that way, obviously, it makes a lot more sense than having someone travel halfway across town just to go and do a small job or whatever the case may be. So these regions as well, you can split them up any way you like, slice and dice them, and whatever you want to call them. They don't have to be east, south, east, west, and they could be the names of the suburbs, for example, or whatever you like. Likewise, the trades, that's dynamic as well. So you can add in as many trades as you like in here. So you might want to add in concrete cutting. You might want to add in cleaning services. There's all sorts of things. So, and then we've got purchase orders, which I will come back to. But before we do that, what we're going to do is we're going to find tradesmen are in our area that we're looking for, and then we're going to offer them to bid on the work via a purchase order. You don't have to do it this way, but it is the way that we've set this up. And when we finally do pick our winning bidder as a tradesperson, we can then assign it to that person through this field here. Now before I move on, we've got this little checkbox up here which says published, and yes, it tells me I don't forget my summary. What they call this? Oh, this is bird bath, isn't it? Bird bath. Birds need a wash. And we'll save that. Now, the tradespeople can actually log in and see some of this information. So I'll show you what the tradesperson logs into the portal. So the tradespeople don't need an ODO user account in order to use the portal, but they can see the job card. So this doesn't cost you money in terms of user licenses. This is something that we can configure. that allows the tradesperson to log in without requiring a user account. As you can see here up the top, I've got the job cards. Sorry, I should go back to this is right. So I've got the this is the first job here is one that has been assigned to this person logged in as tradie 1, and so there is that job there. And if I click on that job, I can then go to all the details about that job. And so I've got all the information up the top, who the manager is, when the dates, and all the information I need. And then in the bottom of here, I get the actual job card description itself. So all that information's in here. And then at the bottom, I've got the chatter. So again, rather than sending emails backwards and forwards and losing track of which job was this, what were you referring to, we can put in all the information in the chatter, and all the evidence is there in one place. Likewise, we can attach documents here. So let's say in Australia we need to have a certificate of electrical safety whenever anybody opens up a switchboard, and so you might want to attach that certificate as an electrician, attach that certificate into the job so it's then all together in one place, and you're not scrounging around trying to find a location for the certificates and so forth. So rather than uploading the Google Docs and then there's no linkage in there, this is all tied in together. I'll go back to the job card list again. And you'll notice down the bottom we've got upcoming tenders, and so you can see the jobs that are coming up and who's managing those jobs. So if you know that there's one that you want to bid on, you can message whoever the person is and make sure that you're on the list, and so forth. All right, so that's the portal side of things. So so let's go through the purchase order now. So what we'll do is we'll go and raise a purchase order for this. So we've got this job. Hang on, let me just try and remember what we put in here. So it's a standard bird bath. It's got a 4 metre long trench, those sorts of things. And we printed out the job card. So that's already in my downloads. So what I'll do now is I'll go to my purchases and create a new purchase order. Whoops. But before I do that, a handy little tip is I'll duplicate this tab and I'll have my job card open that I'm working with, so I can see all the information here, and I know that this is for job number 6. I've got a job card number up here. I know I need an electrician. I know it's in the east, and I know that these are the tradespeople that can do that job. So 2, 12 and 29. So what I can do is firstly I'll just put in a purchase order to tradesperson 2, and what I'll do is I'll link in the job card here. So now there's a link between the purchase order and the job card, and now I'm going to ask them for electrical services. Now because they're going to bid on the work, I'm not going to put a unit price in, I'm just going to leave that blank. So what I can do now is I'll go and send the email and attach the job card. So now Tradie 2 will know about the purchase order where we're requesting them quotas on, and the job cards there as well, so they've got all the information to go and assess what they need to do and the materials and things they're going to need, and they're going to include all those sorts of things in the quote. So you can send that off. And now, because I've got most of this stuff already configured, I'm just going to duplicate it for the other tradespeople. So the other tradesperson was number 12 and number 29. Not very creative names, I know, but say 12. And this is all set up for me now. All I've got to do is really print it, email it, attach the job card, send. I'm going to duplicate again, and the last one was 29, so I'll put in 29, and again I'll send that off in an email. attach the job card so they've got, they know what they're quoting on. Send. Great. So now we've got three quotes out there, and now those tradespeople will go and assess all the information we've given them, and then come back to us with some numbers. But in the meantime, let's have a look at this, what this has done to our system over here with our job card. If we have a look at our purchases tab now, what is that? Let me just refresh this. We can see that those 3 purchase orders are now there. So we can, now we don't need to go and purchase anymore, we can manage it all from here. So let's say 12 got back to us with a price of, I don't know, pick a number, $200. So we can save that, and they came back with $250, and they came back with pick a number, $215. Save. All right. So now we've got our responses back, and obviously I'm skipping a bit. Like obviously they would have emailed us back with the numbers and those sorts of things, and that would have been in the purchase orders. So we can back over in the chat over here. That would have appeared over here. So I'm kind of skimming over that a little bit right now, because I don't want to waste too much of your time. So now we've got these in here. I can click on the total if I want to get the orders, so I can see which one's the cheapest and a little bit more expensive, and that's a good way to see that. And then I can go back to my tradies and look at the star rating. I see number 12 here has got a star rating of 2. Number 2's got a star rating of 0, and number 29's got a 0 as well. So what does 0 mean? It means they either are really, really bad, or they just, the default is 0. So it may be that no one's actually given this person a star rating yet, and that's why we don't know whether they're good or bad or not. So I'll take that with a grain of salt. But let's say I'm going to say 12 is cheaper. So let's go with 12. So I'm going to say we're going to confirm that order, which pings them off a message, say, hey, you've won the job. And I'll go to these ones and I'll cancel them. Save that, and then cancel that one. So now we can see here that this is in the purchase order, status of purchase order, and a confirmation date, and we can see these 2 were cancelled. So this is good information actually. So I wouldn't necessarily delete these cancelled ones, because it can be very useful in the future to go back and do price comparisons, that sort of thing. You know, maybe tradie 2, we want to go back to them in the future and see if they've got a pattern of bidding high, or that sort of thing, and we can get some useful information out of it anyway. Whether you decide to keep that or not, it's up to you. All right, so now this is kind of in the process of being done. So we can mark this as booked. It's gone from draft to quoted to booked, and it's ready to go. But in fact, now I've booked it, I can actually assign it now to 29. And that takes it off being published, so it will no longer appear in this list of published upcoming tenders. It disappears from there. And on the day when this is ready to be done, I haven't bothered changing the start and end dates, but this is probably going to be done. Let's pick say in a couple of weeks' time. We'll start it at 8 a.m. That's finished it. I'll finish it at 5 o'clock, but I'll start it the same day at, let's say, 8. Okay. So that's all ready to go. We've got the manager here set. We've got the location. We've got the trade required. We've assigned to the tradesperson. It's pretty much ready to go now. So on the day, this would then move to in progress. And when it's in progress, I know we're looking at a different card, but it's the one I've got open. So I can click on the job. If I'm the tradesperson, I can click on my job, and see all the information I've got about. I know when I've got to be there, and I know who I've got to contact if I need to contact the manager for any reason. I know who to call it on site to get in. I've got all the information about the job here, so I can see everything, and if I need to, I can talk through the chatter as well. So let's say that all goes well. The next thing to do is that we'll get a notification to say it's now it's finished, and they'll probably come through the chatter. And I don't have that same job open, so I won't do it. But normally the tradesperson will put a message in the chatter, which will appear here, to say, hey, job's finished, ready for inspection, or words to that effect. And so we can send an inspector out, and the inspector can go out to the job, and let's say they're going to put in a template for a basic one, which is all I've got installed on this particular system, and they can go through and do some observations. Was it clean, completed on time? Was the site clean? Was the contractor polite? Was the customer overall happy? And then we can put some star ratings in here too. These are all just options. Yeah, you can set up these as you like. Net promoter score is probably a good one to have in here, so you can say, oh yeah, are they going to recommend us to their friends? You can say, yep, they definitely will. And then if there's any notes, you can put those notes in here accordingly. And so that then the inspector would then say, okay, yep, taking those notes, I'm going to save that, but I'm actually going to move this across now in a done and say this is now a completed job. So in a nutshell, that is the job card process. It's designed for us to manage those jobs, but not necessarily do them ourselves, to contract them out to tradespeople. We coordinate all these things. We can negotiate dates, times. We can negotiate whether materials are going to be there on site, if we're going to supply materials, or if we're going to get them delivered direct to site through maybe a drop shipping type arrangement. We can do all those things within the system. But this job card allows the tradesperson to log in, see the jobs that are on the go, and open up the job for their day, and then progress their way through their work. So I will leave you with that.